Hi.
Have a seat up here at the head of the table.
Right here.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
You look familiar.
Well, this is Darlene Crump. She's going to be sitting on our panel today with me as we interview you and try to fill this position in our district.
You just look so familiar. Where'd you go to college?
Originally, I went to Cal State, Dominguez Hills.
No, I thought you looked like a sorority sister of mine. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you anyway.
Well, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate your time, and we're excited to get started.
I am too.
So we'll just jump right in with the first question.
Okay.
And the first question that we'd like to ask is, what steps would you take with a teacher who is struggling with her classroom management if you were the principal?
Okay. Classroom management, right? Not teaching, but classroom management.
Yes.
Well, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry. Well, the first thing I would probably do for a teacher who is struggling with their classroom management is I would go in and observe her, and I would probably try to maybe take over the class if I was in there and I really saw some negative things going on. I would probably just ask her to let me step up and, try to show her some things that she probably doesn't know to do. And then I would probably call and ask her to conference with me after, and then we would probably make a plan. Because, sometimes teachers, they pick on students. I mean, it is evident they pick on students, and that's just not right. And so I would have to make sure that she was dealt with, if that's the case, through a personnel issue too. But for the most part, I think I would probably just go in there and try to show her some things, maybe get her to read a book. That's probably how I would handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. A parent comes to school very upset that their child is being bullied. When the student gets off the bus until he gets home, she is very upset and has called the police to try to file a report against the child. How will you handle this situation?
First of all, I think parents take the bullying thing to an extreme. But, they are our customers, so we have to really, help them. I would investigate, like any administrator would do, and I would look to see if there's any evidence against the students who are bullying, so to speak. And if so, then I would definitely handle those students, because we want every student in our school to feel safe, and if they don't feel safe, then, that's just going to be a bad reflection on us and our school. So I just probably would investigate and then call the parent and then just make sure the parent understands that we're going to do everything we can to make their child feel safe in school.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Gosh, she just looks so familiar.
Okay. The last question that we'd like to ask you is, if we were to contact your current supervisor, what are 3 words that he or she would use to describe you?
He loves me. I do know that. I don't know if he'd use the word love, but he would probably say I'm pretty confident in what I do. I have a lot of energy, and I am a great decision maker. I think those are probably 3 words that he would use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time today, and we will be in touch with you when we determine who our finalists are.
Can you tell me the timeline? I mean,
sure. Our superintendent would like to have a recommendation in time for the next month's board meeting. So within the next couple of weeks, you should receive a phone call or an email.
so do you think I should continue to apply for other jobs as I'm waiting to hear?
I can't really answer that question. You can if you feel.
You're looking at this.
If there are some positions you're interested in, that's a decision you'll have to make. I can't really tell you whether or not you should or not.
Okay.
That's something that you have to determine on your own.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, I felt really good about this, and it was very nice to meet both of you, and I hope to see you soon. I hope to get that positive phone call.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I take this? Because, oh my gosh, I'm going to take my phone out right now because I just, oh.
You're welcome. Get on this side. Dr. Crump. We're gonna have you at the head of the table.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi,
Joe, hi.
Nice to meet you.
And as I stated, when we walked up the hall, I'm Kim Terrell. I work in the Human Resources Department.
That's right. May I sit?
Yes, please. Okay, we have some questions that we're gonna be asking, and I will go ahead and get started with question number 1. And we would like to know what steps you would take with a teacher who is struggling with classroom management.
Thank you for the question. As an administrator, it's really important to understand that your weakest teacher could be your weakest link in your building. And it's up to each of us to try to improve that teacher's actual performance in that classroom. The very first thing we would do is observe. And you know, with Teacher Keys, we have to do so many observations per year. So that struggling teacher, we should know early on what he or she needs. One of the primary things that we'll do is we will provide them the support they need. Now, what type of support would be basically contingent upon the actual subject the teacher's teaching, as well as what the teacher actually needs. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. Teacher A is having a problem teaching math. Teacher A is a new teacher, new to Henry County, but has so much energy and so much spirit. We know she can do a great job. However, she's struggling a little bit with classroom management. The very first thing we're going to do is kind of identify the problem and kind of pair her with, number 1, a great mentor teacher, as well as give her an opportunity to observe her peers. And a lot of times, peer observations really do work. We'll give her an opportunity and give her the information that she can actually pull from those interviews with those observations with those peer teachers, and then actually talk to her about that. Once we do that, we'll put together a plan in that classroom that shows her how to actually teach a class from beginning to the end, with a great opening, a work session, a closing, all those things that a teacher needs. And we'll also make sure that she feels comfortable with the delivery. And also we'll model. We'll make sure we model a great lesson for her. And she'll know we're going to model it for her, because we'll tell her these are the things that we're working on. Let me show you how to do this, and let us show you how to do this. And hopefully she'll enjoy that as well. After that, we'll come in and we'll do some additional observations, because sometimes when we have teachers who are struggling, we give them more than the standard observations. We actually will extend their observations. And basically, that's an answer that I would actually give at this particular time to assist a struggling teacher.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next question is, a parent comes to school very upset that their child is being bullied when the student gets off the bus until he gets home. She is very upset and has called the police to try to file a report against the child. How will you handle this situation?
Well, I'm so happy you asked that question as well. Bullying has been an issue that has been addressed for many years across, not only here in Henry County, but across the nation. One of the first things we would do is we would actually look at and identify the actual definition of bullying. What is bullying? And one of the things that I've noticed is once we take the code out and we share that code with the parents, they may say, well, okay, this is not happening like this, but this is happening. So once we kind of get that definition clear, then we'll actually speak with the student. We have to speak with the student, because sometimes the parents' ideal of what's happening is completely different from the students. So we'll, of course, extend that due process and speak with the student, and hopefully allow the student an opportunity to share with us exactly what's happening. Once we get that information from the student, then we will begin our investigation. And what is an investigation exactly? An investigation includes an administrator who is trained that will actually take time and work with that particular student. Let me give you an example of that. We had a situation recently with a student stating that she was being bullied cyberly. And cyberbullying is something that happens more often than not with students, because they have the opportunity to hide behind computers and keyboards. So once we were able to do our investigation, do some screenshots of the Facebook postings, we were able to let that student know that what he or she was doing was wrong. Once we found out what was wrong, and then one of the other things we have to do is we have to notify both the parent of the student who is being bullied, as well as the parent of the student who is the bully, so that they understand that you cannot bully students. That just does not happen. So we'll do everything we can to make sure that both the student who is quote unquote being bullied, as well as the student who is the aggressor in this particular situation, they've been dealt with accordingly based on Georgia's guidelines associated with bullying.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next question that I have for you is as follows. If we were to call your current supervisor, what 3 words would he or she use to describe you?
Thank you. My current supervisor is an amazing young person. He does a great job with our group of teachers that he supervises. I think if he had to describe me in 3 words, it would be determined, perseverance, and professionalism. And I think that because one of the things that I, as a professional, strive towards is professional, the way that I present myself both in my communications as well as how I present myself to my parents and my students, and especially to my teachers. I think he really does appreciate that. As we have discussions, we talk about things that certainly reflect professionalism, and we try to make sure we communicate on that level at all times. Determination, I think he knows that we're determined because we will not stop no matter what. We try to figure out a way to reach all students. Sometimes we may find ourselves short of that goal, but we reassess and we get back in and try again. So he knows that we are determined to do our very best each and every day. Perseverance, and I think perseverance is because as educators, we all know that there are times when things get rough, but you cannot and you will not be able to be successful for yourself or for your students if you don't persevere until the end. So I think those things would certainly describe how my supervisor would see me. For example, I'll give you a quick example without belaboring this particular interview of perseverance. About 4 years ago, we decided that we were going to institute school uniforms for our school. And one of the things we originally did is we actually decided to kind of get a feel for how our community felt about this. So we surveyed community members, parents, teachers, everyone. It was great to hear and to see how they felt this was something that we should do. So we took a couple years just to continue to get a feel for it. So we had some real data that was somewhat longitudinal. Basically, based on that information, and we continued from day one to just keep going and keep going and keep going, and we got to a point where we decided we can do this. We presented to the board, and they saw the determination, the professionalism, and the perseverance in our process. It wasn't just talking about it. We put things in place to make sure we could do it. And because of that, we were able to institute school uniforms for our students, but not just uniforms that really reflected how we feel about ourselves with pride and dignity, and the kids just look amazing. So I just would like to share with you that, because I think when you're describing how another person sees you or would explain what you are or how you've been to that person, it has to be backed up with a little bit of evidence. And I think for us, for me, and for my supervisor, I think those 3 words would basically sum up how he feels about me as a professional.
Okay, well, we have completed asking the questions that we wanted to ask you, and we thank you again for coming in and for your time today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.
Nice to
You
meet
too.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.